Everybody get started here?
Sure. Okay. Thank you for coming. My name is Joe Froelich. I'm the Chief of Communications for the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office. And last week, after there was a story in the Plain Dealer about Tim McGinty hiring Phil Torsney to come back and do some work as an investigator for our office focusing on the Amy Mihaljevic case, we were besieged with calls from people who wanted to talk to Phil or to find out about the case. I think it's indicative of how much this case has captivated this entire greater Cleveland community since Amy disappeared in October of 1989. So we thought maybe the best, most effective use of everybody's time was to bring together folks who can really tell you where the case stands and give you a good briefing on that in one place. So we have the new police chief of Bay Village, Mark Spetzel, who until recently has been one of the detective lieutenant, I'm sorry, I got the title wrong. Okay. But he's worked this case for many, many years, knows as much about it as anybody. And two other people who obviously intimately know it, Phil Torsney, retired FBI agent, now working as an investigator for the Prosecutor's Office, and Tim Kalanick from the FBI's Violent Crime Task Force, which again has been involved with this case from the very beginning. Prosecutor McGinty couldn't be here today. One thing he would tell you if he was here was that we continue to pursue these cases. Looking cold, we've had several with both some great police work and some providence. Had some great breakthroughs in the past year, past 6 months on some cases that people thought had gone cold for good. And they did not because of incredibly hard work by people. And so we continue to pursue these cases, and the Mihaljevic case is certainly one of them. So thought we'd start with Chief, why don't you just kind of give a little briefing on kind of bring us up to date on where things stand, and then we'll have Phil and Tim talk a little bit about their perspective, and then take your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Froelich. My name is Chief Mark Spetzel, and that's S-P-A-E-T-Z-E-L, with Bay Village Police. I'm just going to read a prepared statement that I've made, and then when we're all done here, we'll answer some questions. Just over 24 years ago, on October 27th, 1989, Amy Mihaljevic was abducted from the Bay Square Shopping Center on Wolf Road in Bay Village. An immediate and concerted effort by law enforcement was begun to locate Amy. Unfortunately, on February 8, 1990, her body was found in a field in Ashland County in Ruggles Township, some 50 miles from her home. The facts of the case are well known. It's been in the media for a very long time. But basically, Amy received phone calls to meet an individual at Bay Square in order to go to a mall and buy a gift for her mother who had received a promotion at work. Two classmates familiar with Amy saw her talking to a white male, approximately 30 to 35 years old, 5'8" to 5'10", medium build with dark hair, possibly wearing a tan jacket and glasses. The male may have had a trace of beard growth and a bald spot near the top or rear of his head. We have no vehicle description. The Bay Village Police Department, working closely with the FBI, continues to investigate the homicide. To date, the investigation has resulted in more than 20,000 interviews, over 10,000 leads, and thousands of suspects. Law enforcement continues to employ new avenues in the investigation. Great strides have continued to be made in the area of forensic science. Since these new technologies could prove beneficial, law enforcement continues to collect, preserve, and analyze any and all potential evidence. In addition to investigating any leads that are received by law enforcement, other investigative methods are being used in an effort to solve this homicide. Utilizing case analysis, a complete review of the case, including all evidence and past suspects, is being conducted. With the assistance of Prosecutor Tim McGinty in the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office, retired FBI agent Phil Torsney has been brought in to work exclusively on this investigation. The City of Bay Village, the FBI, and the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office is dedicated to identifying and prosecuting the individual responsible for this homicide. Information received from the public will be vitally important in solving this homicide. The police department believes a person or persons has knowledge of the individual responsible for the Amy's abduction and murder, and encourage them to contact the Bay Village Police or the FBI. And of course, anybody who calls in any information can choose to remain confidential. And I want to thank the local media for their continued interest in this, publicizing this case and assisting us in finding the person responsible. Thank you. Bill?
I'm happy to be here. The prosecutor, Tim McGinty, hired me about a month ago to come to Bay Village and work with the FBI, the prosecutor's office, and Bay Village Police to assist in an effort to locate the individual responsible for this crime. That's what I'm here to do. One of the advantages I have over a lot of the investigators that have worked this case and are working it now is I can focus on one case. I've only been able to do that a couple times in my career, on this case and the case I worked previous before I retired from the FBI. Part of the reason, well, to be able to focus on one case allows me to go in some directions that maybe we haven't gone before. There's a lot of new technology we're looking at, and we're going to be out knocking on doors, which is the way you solve a lot of these kind of cases. There's been great investigation done on this case from the inception, and I know most of the investigators, and the fact that such good work has been done on this case by the Bay Village PD, the prosecutor's office, and the FBI up to this point allows me not to have to look backwards at a lot of things. This thing has been kept up to speed. There's been leads covered all the time. And the fact that I don't have to go back and review the case, number one, because I know the case. I was here when I was working for the FBI when this took place back in 1989 in Cleveland. I don't have to go back and really do a lot of catch-up. It's tough to catch up on a case if you weren't here when it started. But because of the good work, I'm in a position to sort of go in some different directions, and hopefully we're going to get some results. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
The FBI has always been fully committed to working with the Bay Village Police Department in this matter. We will continue to do so. Any and all tips that the community can provide, either to us or to Bay Village, would be greatly appreciated.
Great, thanks very much. Next question?
Yes. Could you tell us about any possible leads, suspects? Anyone? Do you narrow it down to?
Well, we continue to look at a lot of people. Obviously we don't name suspects, we would never do that. But over the years, over 24 years, we've accumulated a lot of different people that we've taken a look at. I can't say that there's any one person that we've pinpointed that we're doing anything necessarily with. There's a lot of people that we're looking at, and there's a lot of avenues we're pursuing.
So when you have 20,000 interviews, 10,000 plus leads, like the chief said over all these years, you talk about moving forward, but how do you even go about moving forward? Where do you even start?
Well, there's a couple ways to do it, and we're going to be smart about this and try to go in the direction that's going to take us as quick as we can to a logical conclusion. It's been a while. We're going to keep working on it, but sometimes it's best to look from the outside in, like a big picture, and do some things new in that regard. And the way the world's changing with computers and with this new technology, and it's changing very quickly. And I'm not a great computer guy or smart with that kind of thing. I've been pretty good at banging on doors over the years, and that's what I can bring to the table a little bit. But we have a lot of tools, and we have a lot of people that are smarter than me with computers and forensics and that kind of thing. And I think as a team we can come together and hopefully get some results.
Have you spoken to Amy's father at all? And what do you think about these recent developments?
I have spoken to Amy's father since I've been back here, and I know Bay Village Police is in contact with him periodically, and he's happy that we're still working on the case, which we have been all along. But it's nice to we keep him up to speed on what's going on, and we're going to continue to do that.
So you were here from day one. The notion out here was topical in the early days. Is this case special to you, and you look like you could have a special place for you that you really like to get some answers?
I think anybody that was here when that happened feels that way, and we have to, whoever did this, we have to figure this out and get him off the street. And that's the main thing. You want to make sure this guy is identified and prosecuted, because he's still out there somewhere, and that's an important. That's behind what we're all thinking up here. And,
There's some high-profile names out there that have been danced around.
Well,
you start with them,
we have different phases of what we're going to do. We've thought about this, we've talked about this, and I'm not going to get into specifics about what actually we're doing, but there's some good directions we're going. That we look at individual suspects, but we take tips. We want to get any tip we can and get any information we can, but there's other ways to make things happen in a more general overview, which takes into account all the new technology and that kind of thing. And that's one of the first directions we're heading in here.
You spoke about the new technology. With any of the DNA matching that they're using for the cold case rape kits, is that something that you're thinking of using for this case?
We've been using, as forensic technology develops over the year, we've continued to keep up to date and utilize that. And we will continue to do that. You know, the latest and greatest things are things like touch DNA and the various things like that. So we're going to utilize all those resources, anything we possibly can, and we can incorporate in this case. We've used the FBI lab, we've used the BCI lab, and we'll continue to do that. Actually, this morning I spent an hour taking 4 leads. So yeah, they continue to come in. They have, there doesn't a week go by that I don't have at least 1 lead that comes in. So they continue to come in, which is amazing to me 24 years later, but I think it speaks to the passion people have for this case.
No matter how small, people should give you guys a call.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mark, are you going to coordinate the investigation, or someone's going to take the lead and run all the info in a proper direction?
Right, we're still, I would say the Bay Village Police Department is still like the clearinghouse for this case. We get probably the majority of the case. I know the FBI gets calls as well. We coordinate with them. And basically, as the tips come in, we analyze them and do what we feel is appropriate for the investigation. I can't say that Phil's going to be following every individual lead that comes in. That's not what he's here for. He's here for the big picture, and he's doing some different things. But we, as the Bay Village Police or the FBI, will continue to follow up on leads as they come in.
Do you believe the perpetrator is still alive?
I have no way of knowing that. I don't know.
There are a few composite sketches floating around past news stories. How do you think those are accurate at all? You know, he's obviously 24 years old.
Right. Well, you know, those composites were done a couple days after the abduction. They were based on 2 10-year-olds that saw someone with Amy as Amy was walking away from the center. There was no reason for these 2 10-year-olds to take notice of it other than they saw Amy walking away. And I always use the analogy, if you're walking down the mall yesterday, you saw somebody, you went home the next day and the police knocked on your door and said, describe the guy that walked by you in the mall, you'd have a very difficult time coming up with an accurate description. But at the time of the abduction, that is all we had, was this rough description that I provided you earlier. So that's what we put out. That generated untold numbers of leads based upon lookalikes, all of which we followed up. What we want the public to focus on now is the basic facts of the case. If you feel there's anybody involved for specific reasons, certainly that's a rough description, but I can't tell you that the suspect looks like that or doesn't look like that.
Chief, this has obviously been pretty much your career as well. I mean, how important is it to you to see this resolved?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, Bay Village has been touched by this for 24 years now. Mark Mihaljevic deserves closure. I think the city deserves closure. I spoke with Mark yesterday, and he's very happy that we continue to do this. He's very happy that the media continues to publicize this so we can reach out to the public and get information back in. So yeah, it's very important for me to get this solved for the family.
Chief and Agent Kalanick, if people do have leads, how could they contact you? What's the way to get in touch?
Well, for the Bay Village Police Department, you can call 440-871-1234, and I believe the task force number at the FBI is going to be 216-522-1400. And we have some flyers that Special Agent Kalanick will pass out for you.
Chief, after all this time, you still believe the case is solvable?
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, I've never considered a cold case in the sense that you hear about, because this has always been an active investigation. There's never been a time where we closed the box, put it away, and didn't do anything. So yeah, we absolutely feel that there's a possibility we can solve this.
Why now? Why are you going back to this case now?
Well, we're not going back to it. We've never left it. And I think what happens now is we have an opportunity to have retired Special Agent Phil Torsney on board to help out, and that's a big thing. You know, we're a small department with 23 full-time officers. We don't have the resources to investigate this 24/7, and having the resources of the FBI and Agent Torsney with us is invaluable.
Agent, you obviously have some history on some other high-profile cases. I mean, I was in New England for a long time. They thought that would never be solved. proving people wrong there. Are you anxious to do that again here?
Sure, and it is a similar case. Like I said before, it's a case where when I came in to work that case in Boston with with various agencies, I was freed up because of the good investigation that had been done previously to go out and be able to look at some things that were different with the investigators I was working with, and that's what made that case happen. And for the same reasons, for the same good work, I'm in a position to focus on one case and hopefully with the other investigators make something happen here.
The census seems to be down today, or is coming down today. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm going to refer that to the Boston FBI office. It's a little too early. It's still, the sentencing phase is just starting, I think.
How does time change the case? Is that like more likely to tell somebody or talk about it? I mean, how does 24 years change the case?
Well, I've talked to people. We interviewed a lot of Amy's friends that were 10, 11 years old at the time, and I've interviewed some of them in the last 2 weeks or a week that are now, in their 30s, and people have a different perspective as they age and see things differently. And it's the same with witnesses, friends, witnesses. Everybody who was either young or old at that time may have some information, may have seen something that at that point didn't mean that much, but maybe based on other circumstances or other life circumstances, they have a different perspective now, and we're going to be knocking on doors to talk to those people again.
Any other questions? Well, thank you all very much for coming out. We appreciate your continued interest in this case. Thanks very much.
Thank you.